Good morning, it's Wednesday, hoping you are well and cheerful today. And because it's Wednesday, it's my day off. And this is the day once a week when I hope that this little white ball will obediently find its way 18 times into little holes on pen common this morning. Funny thing though, it never quite works out like that way, but I enjoy it, it's good exercise, fresh air, and I'm looking forward to it today. But whatever you have planned for today, hope you enjoy it too. Now, for our reading for today. Now, we have been working our way with morning prayer. We've been working our way through Luke's Gospel, and we've been in Jerusalem. Now, today's reading is a bit different because today it's the feast of Mary Magdalene, or Mary Magdalene's Day. And on Saints' Days, we have a slightly different reading from somewhere else. And the good news is, let you into a secret, on Saints' Day it's great because the readings are always nice and short. But today's reading is also, fun enough, in Luke's Gospel, and it's a few chapters before. It's actually chapter 8, and it winds back to the days when Jesus is in Galilee before he's gone to Jerusalem, and he goes around the villages telling people about the kingdom of God. So the reading this morning, it's a short one this morning, it's Luke's Gospel, chapter 8, and I'm reading verses 1 to 3. Soon afterwards, Jesus went on through cities and villages, proclaiming and bringing the good news of the kingdom of God. The 12 were with him, as well as some women who'd been cured of evil spirits and infirmities. Mary called Magdalen, from whom 7 demons had gone out, and Joanna, the wife of Herod's steward, Chusa, and Susanna, and many others who provided for them out of their resources. And this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now then, on the face of it, this just sounds like a few people knock around with Jesus, but I just want to say 3 or 4 things about this morning. Firstly, it's obviously Mary Magdalene's Day, and this is why she's mentioned in this reading. And what becomes clear from this reading is that Mary Magdalene had been seriously helped by Jesus. It says in here that Jesus had cast 7 demons out of her. So she'd clearly been a very, very troubled woman, and that Jesus had helped her. And because Jesus helped her so much, that's why she followed him around, as did other people as well. That's the first thing I want to say. So about Mary Magdalene, Jesus had clearly done a lot for her, and as a result, that's why she followed him. The second thing which is quite interesting about this is another person that follows, I've never spotted this before, is someone called Joanna. And Joanna was the wife of Herod's steward Chusa. Now this is quite interesting because Chusa, as Herod, the king's chief steward, was clearly a very, very important person. And yet his wife was also a follower of Jesus. That must have been quite radical for her, even having a husband in his position, to still be a follower of Jesus. And it's interesting that she and others supported, not just went round with him, but supported him through her own resources as well, so she contributed towards him. So the first thing is that Mary Magdalene is obviously somebody who Jesus helped a lot. Secondly, you've got this wife of this very important person following Jesus around. Not the kind of person who'd normally expect to follow Jesus, but this person, Joanna, was there as well. The third thing, which I hadn't spotted as well, is this is the first time we're introduced to the women who followed Jesus from Galilee. And if you track the story later in Luke's Gospel, these are the same women who were with Jesus when he died, and were also with Jesus when he was buried as well. Check out the readings later and you'll find, for those theologically astute amongst you, have a look, check it out, and you'll find that these are the women who Jesus was with at Galilee, who were also with him when he was buried and with him when he died as well. So there's 3 things about the people who followed Jesus around. First, you've got Mary Magdalene and other people who've clearly been seriously helped by Jesus. Secondly, you've got, amongst others, you've got the wife of this important person following Jesus around as well. And also, this is the first time we're introduced to the people who were with Jesus, who stuck with him to the end, even when he died and when he was buried as well. But that's all very interesting. But I think sometimes, I've said in church many times before, that theology is the art of stating the blindingly obvious, but sounding terribly clever when you do it. I'm sure that's what preaching is about, this stating the blindingly obvious. And to me, the obvious thing, which is kind of so obvious we don't even notice it, is this, that Jesus needed friends. And he didn't go around on his own, but he needed friends. And with him, as he went on his travels, he had the 12 disciples, and he had these women and various other people as well with him. Jesus didn't just do it on his own. Jesus needed friends. And you know something? I think if Jesus needed friends, then we need friends as well. And actually, that's why the church is so important. Because if Jesus can't do it, then neither can we, actually. And if he needs friends, then we need friends too. And that's where a good church comes in. And that's why going to church is really important and being part of a church. All sorts of reasons. Firstly, we can support each other. When times are hard, you can get support, love and advice from friends. And even if you're feeling fine, then you can help other people and they need support and friends as well. So church does that. Secondly, also, one of the great things about being with other Christians is that we can see things like the Bible from a different perspective. I remember being told suggested by someone, when you study the Bible, study with people that aren't like you, because therefore you can get a different view of the Bible. And the more different views you can get about a text, actually the more it comes alive to you. So we can give each other different perspectives and widen our horizons and see more what God is doing. But I think another thing is that we can help each other learn. And in a bizarre sort of way, and there are people in church that we like, and there are people in church that we find more difficult. But in my experience, actually, often the people that rub us up the wrong way are the ones that tell us most about ourselves, because there's always a reason why they wind us up. And actually, they can be people that can help us grow and mature in our faith. It can knock the rough edges off and help us to be more honed Christians. So, this is a very interesting reading this morning, albeit short. It introduces Mary Magdalen to the story, who Jesus had helped so much. You've got this very important woman here, this Joanna, amongst other people, quite a surprising person, the wife of Herod's steward, to be with Jesus. We're introduced to the people who were with Jesus, who stuck with him through thick and thin and were there with him when he died and when he was buried as well. There's women from Galilee that it talks about. But finally, and I think above all, this reading just tells us that Jesus needs friends, and if Jesus needs friends, then we need friends too. And as I said before, I think one of the greatest gifts God's given us is each other. And that's where the being part of church is really important, in however way it is. And I think we have to think of new and creative ways of doing it. But church is important because church means each other. Church means support. Church means helping us to widen our horizons and give us different perspectives. And church is a way in which the context in which we best learn and we best grow in Jesus.